The Phorcydes PH-4A and PH4B are 60s style skindivers oozing with retro charm and packed with Lume technology. But should you buy one? And which one? Let's get into it. Hey again guys, it's Brian, the Chinese watch guy. I like affordable watches, especially Chinese watches. And today, a double review of these Phorcydes watches. Phorcydes is a Chinese homage brand. They sent me these watches to review and I don't need to send them back, but they have no say in this review. Now, a few years ago, Christopher Ward caught a lot of attention when they released their Trident Lumiere, a watch known for its 3D Lume block technology. But these watches are not homages to the Lumiere. Instead, they're homages to a 1960s skindivers from an old French company called Wolbrook and its sister brand, Douglas. Now, if you're not a fan of homages or clomages, that's fair enough. But I would note that the famed Glashütte group from East Germany basically did copy this design into their Glashütte skindiver in 1969. And in fact, they reissued it a few years ago as the CQ, a premium dive watch that goes for Rolex money. These Phorcydes, on the other hand, go for about $150 to $200. Now, as I said, these are very retro styled, very vintage styled watches, but could they be too retro? And is there such thing as too much Lume? We'll discuss this. Of course, I'll leave links in the description. If you like videos like these, remember to like and subscribe. Oh, and remember to watch to the end. I'm going to announce the winner of that free Englemaan watch giveaway. So the watches come in these disposable compact boxes, which is fine considering how many watch boxes I have in the closet. They do come with a signed warranty card, which is good to see. And they do come in these compact travel cases. And if you notice, the logos on the travel cases are also lumed, I guess a signifier of how serious these guys are about Lume. Okay, let's get into similarities of these watches because there are quite a few similarities as well as a lot of differences. We can see most obviously that they both have 3D Lume blocks, but different configurations, which we'll talk about after. They both have matte black dials with that grayed out Phorcydes logo on them. Both have dome sapphire crystals, quite nice. And some interesting, retro style distortion on those dome sapphire crystals. They both use the same case, basically 40 millimeters wide, about just over 48 millimeters lug to lug, just over 13 millimeters thick, although they are about 11 millimeters without that dome crystal. As you can see, they both take straight end links. They both have pretty good 120 click bezel, pretty clicky and precise for this price point. And on both, we do have a screw down case back with a spec sheet, including 200 meters of water resistance. And we do have a screw down crown. Inside, we have the NH35 Seiko movement. Unfortunately, that means we do have a ghost tape position. The watches are about 133 grams on bracelet and about 98 grams on a rubber strap. There is a good number of options for the beads of rice bracelet, the rubber strap. They have leather straps as well on their website for each watch. Okay, let's look more closely at the differences now. Starting with the PH-4A, we can see that, of course, the layout includes even numerals only, which is the same layout as the Wolbrook skindiver, and in fact, the Glashütte CQ. Rather oversized numerals with large baton markers at the odd number positions. The hands are overlapping now, so let me just move them to get a better look. We can see that we do have a large arrow for the minute hand. And having both watches, of course, I find this kind of confusing because on the B, it is the large arrow for the hour hand. Here, it is the large arrow for the minute hand. It does reach right out to the minute track. However, the hour hand, I find that kind of anemic, a bit too small. I know that's what she said. I know that minute hands are more important for a dive watch than hour hands, but still a bit disproportionate. And as Lume is a big feature of this watch, of course, the Lume will be much weaker on that hour hand than even on the baton markers, really. We have a nice lollipop style second hand. And yeah, the star of the show, of course, are those thick three-dimensional Lume block numerals, which provide lots of Lume throughout the night, as we'll see later. There are also squarish lume blocks at the perimeter after every 5-minute marker. As for the dive style bezel, it's fully marked, of course, with dot minute markers all around. The bezel is fully lumed, and spoiler alert, this is the more brilliant, brighter of the two watches at night. You can see there is a sign crown. I like the Phorcydes logo. Good horizontal brushing. Perhaps just a touch uneven compared to some of the other premium Chinese brands. There is circular brushing at the top of the case. The case has just a bit of an edge at the bottom here. It's not uncomfortable on wrist thanks to that cushioned case back, but yeah, you do feel the edge definitely just here. Okay, speaking of the PH4B, I think this design is of another Wolbrook skin diver, or perhaps their sister brand, Douglas. We do see oversized numerals again, but this time 12369 at the cardinal points, and there are small lume blocks at those cardinal points as well. Minute hand is this sword hand with orange accents, almost a pencil hand. The hour hand is a large arrow, as mentioned. Good legibility. And the second hand is a kind of thin spear or arrow-like hand. Again, a bit of orange accents on it. All of those were fully lumed. And then we have prominent dashes around the perimeter as minute markers. The bezel is fully marked, also with those prominent dashes. And this one is a countdown bezel instead of a regular or more standard dive bezel. As for the crown, we see that it has a left-sided crown with prominent crown guards. Now, though I am a lefty and I've tried wearing this on my opposite wrist, I still find it kind of awkward to set the crown on my right wrist. However, I understand that it's supposedly worn on your left wrist as normal to provide a bit more comfort so that crown doesn't dig into your wrist as easily. But I do find that when wearing perhaps a bit of a tighter cuff, it does catch on to my cuff more easily. The finishing is a bit different because we have now vertical brushing on the flanks, and we do have some nice polished chamfers along the top, along the bottom, a small chamfer, and that does add comfort when wearing this watch or handling this watch. Okay, here it is on the wrist. So speaking of the bracelet, again, it has those straight end links, and being a beads of rice bracelet, lots of that retro charm. Very comfortable on the wrist. You can see a nicely brushed clasp, unsigned. Unfortunately, it would have been better if it was signed, but it does have rounded chamfered edges here, so quite comfortable. And we do have on-the-fly adjustment, and I think this type is just a bit better than the more common one. Let's say, for example, the ones on the older San Martins. And it is shorter than this San Martin clasp, about 39 millimeters as compared to about 43 millimeters on the San Martin. It is a quick release clasp, so that offers good interchangeability if you want to get more than one of their bracelets or straps. And here is the PH4B on wrist. Lots of retro cool, as you can see. And so I'll talk about the rubber strap. Again, comfortable rubber diver strap, very pliable, good ventilation, lots of holes, and it does have a signed buckle. So it is quite a good strap, and again, it does have quick release on them. So let's take a look at the watch outdoors. Looks quite good AR coating, I would say. And here we have it switched up on the rubber strap for the A, and a Ixdao white rubber strap. Here we have the B on that beads of rice, and we have the B here on a Fluco rally strap. All right, time for the Lume show. Phorcydes uses a formula called hyperglow, which I first encountered with Englemaan's watches actually. And it takes very little to activate it, and it does last a long time. Phorcydes claims that it lasts for 8 hours, and I find, yes, it glows actively for probably 6 hours, and is still visible for a few hours after that. It's actually powerful enough to act like a modest torch or flashlight. The only thing I would say about these Lume blocks is while they offer great legibility from most angles, for more indirect, for more side angles, they can be a bit hard to make out, especially with that distortion on the side of these crystals. All the watches come in blue, green, or mixed Lume. I would say the mixed Lume colors offer the best legibility at night. Okay, let me talk about drawbacks of the watches. As I mentioned, the 4A kind of has some rough edges at the bottom of the case. Doesn't actually affect daily wear too much, however. Now, both of these watches have a very retro look, and they have a very busy look. So, it's kind of subjective. Is that for you? Perhaps that retro look, that busy look is not for everyone's. And that busyness is enhanced by the Lume blocks on the dials. My wife in particular said the 4B looks like a toy. Yeah, but what does she know? As for my final verdict, I think these are both winners. They have a very cool retro charm to them. Perhaps I would not daily them all year round because they are rather bold, kind of out there. But they do make a perfect summer beach watch, and that's what I would probably wear it for. If you're watching this video, you probably have more than one watch. You probably don't need another boring dive watch. So these are something different. And the Lume technology is a great bonus. As for alternatives to these watches, now you can get the modern Wolbrook reissues, and these run $400 to $600, depending on whether you're going for a Miota 8000 or 9000 series. But you're not getting that unique Lume here, which you're only getting for $150 to $210. If you want to stretch your budget, you could go for the Christopher Ward Trident Lumiere, but that is over $2,000, I think $3,000 for the Bark and Jack edition. The Lumiere is a different style of dive watch, to be sure, although I think the Lume is probably not as impressive. It probably shouldn't be, considering they do not have the oversized numerals as we have here. And finally, there is the Glashütte CQ, a much more upscale version of this, although it's not really a true alternative because it runs for well over $11,000. In any case, I'll leave links to these watches and to the alternatives in the description below. So there you have it. Which watch would you go for? Let me know in the comments. I think I'm going to keep the 4A despite the flaws. I rather like it. And as for the winner of the Englemaan Citadel UTC, in perfect condition because of the anti-scratch hardening and its anti-magnetism, congratulations, Aaron Horsley 8143. Check your messages, and this watch will be on the way. So that's all from me. I'm Brian, the Chinese Watch Guy. Remember, enjoy your watches.